Welcome to the Fanboy and the Hater,
a podcast hosted and produced by Mike Hall
and Jim Harris, where we discuss the best
and worst
in movies,
TV,
and pop culture.
It's an instinct, a feeling. The Force brought us together. We're not alone. Good people will fight if we lead them.
People keep telling me they know me. No one does.
But I do.
Long have I waited. And now, you're coming together. Is your undoing.
What are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir, at my friends.
Confronting fear is the destiny of a Jedi. Your destiny.
The Force will be with you.
Always.
What are you expecting is going to happen in episode 9?
My really deepest, darkest hope is that both Kylo and Rey go gray. Because really, I mean, if you're talking about balance to the Force, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need both of them.
It's a fan theory. This is not a spoiler. Palpatine created Anakin in the Force in order to be the ultimate dark side. Maybe Yoda or Luke created Rey as the balance of someone created by the Force to represent the light to really bring balance to the Force.
It could be. I always like the idea of her being a Kenobi. Kenobi had a child that wasn't known to him. That person had a child, and that was Rey.
The Kenobi series introduces who he gets pregnant, and then we meet that woman later on The Mandalorian.
Kenobi was a devout Jedi, though. I mean, he actually practiced the religion. He didn't just give it lip service.
But what is still considered canon, though, is the Clone Wars animated series. And there was him getting this groove thing on Mandalore with
attachment is forbidden. It doesn't mean they can't bang it out. During Clone Wars, they did their thing. He didn't know that she had a child, etc., etc.
I thought the idea of her being a Palpatine, granddaughter, great-granddaughter, or whatever, would kind of make up Anakin super dark. And, I'd say Luke is probably the most gray. You've also got Leia, who is light, and her son was dark. So it'd be interesting to have his granddaughter be light.
How are you thinking that, story-wise, makes sense that she could be a Palpatine?
Mostly it would explain where her Force sensitivity would come from.
Oh, why? She's just so super powerful. Yeah. Was Palpatine suppressing her ability, and then they said, it's time for you to be Force aware and Force powerful? Because that was one of the things that a lot of people were complaining about. Rey goes from 0 to 100 on Force strength in The Force Awakens, from having little to no knowledge of the Force, and all of a sudden she's just as powerful as Kylo Ren.
Well, they did the same thing with Luke.
Did fight Vader, barely trained.
But unlike Rey, he got his ass kicked. Rey held her own and essentially was beating Kylo Ren until the earthquake kind of separates the two.
Kylo says that, her parents were drunks that basically sold her on Jakku.
I read that as him being Darth Dick. I didn't read that scene as him telling her the truth. I saw him trying to break her,
manipulate the situation.
Manipulate her psychologically. It's you're nobody, so if you want to be someone, come with me.
Yeah, that was what I took out of it as well.
I'm confused by the name Rise of Skywalker. Does that mean that Rey's a Skywalker?
No, what I think it means is that Skywalker is going to become like the new name for whatever little sect comes up next.
I've read that the name Skywalker is supposed to mean extremely force sensitive. And so the idea of the Rise of Skywalker is supposed to be the rise of force sensitivity.
So is that basically, so no one will be called Jedi anymore? They'll be called Skywalkers?
I think that Luke or Anakin or whoever, they've become so well known in force sensitivity. It's just a name that you call it.
I have a question. Is there much knowledge in the public that Vader was Anakin?
He's inside the mask, and very few people other than the people on Mustafar that are basically his servants are probably usually the only ones that would see him out of it.
He's so disfigured that it's going to be hard to tell.
Yeah, that's true. He's just so completely disfigured. Why would you connect that person to the other? I think it's implied that some characters, like Grand Moff Tarkin, knew Anakin as Anakin,
right,
and then knows Darth Vader. But yeah, I don't know how many people connected the dots, because maybe what Kenobi told Luke in A New Hope was kind of like the PR line: Anakin Skywalker's dead. They didn't want anyone to equate Darth Vader with him. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. It seems to be not a guarded secret in The Force Awakens, because Kylo Ren is basically a huge Darth Vader fanboy.
Yeah, and he's collecting Anakin artifacts, his lightsaber.
Well, is he collecting Anakin or Vader? So where I'm going with that is what I was saying. If they just start calling people with force sensitivity Skywalker, is that going to equate to Vader in the public mind? Or is that going to be, oh yeah, Anakin was an amazing Jedi, and then Luke was an amazing Jedi, so Skywalkers are what you want to be?
I don't think it was necessarily hidden. I just don't think it was advertised.
Anakin part?
The Anakin part. But at the same time, people are going to go, well, this guy had to show up from somewhere. Where'd he come from?
Even in The Force Awakens, they have Rey, when they meet Han Solo, she's like, I thought the Jedi and the Sith were just myths. Do you think that J.J. Abrams is going to try to retcon anything that happened in The Last Jedi?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
We got a definitive yes and a definitive no. Okay.
I mean, he's going to have to retcon the Rey's parentage thing by just saying that he was lying. But otherwise, I don't think he can. Because if he retcons stuff from that episode, then he's just completely crapping on everything and ruins the saga. So I think he just has to go with what's there and keep moving forward.
I think he's obviously going to have to retcon Rey's parents. I think he's going to do that. And I think he's going to make Snoke a bigger deal.
Oh, you think he might just not retcon, but actually there'll be some flashback scenes?
He's going to have to reestablish stuff that wasn't brought up in the last episode that should have been.
Do you care if any of the other characters other than Rey get killed?
I don't care at all if they just tell a good story.
I wouldn't care if everybody died. I think that would actually be a badass ending.
That's the full Shakespeare. At the end of a lot of Shakespeare's tragedies, everybody dies.
I would probably be mad, but in my head, I think that's fucking hilarious thing to do.
What if at the end of it, all those Star Destroyers show up and then Captain Marvel just comes in and destroys them all?
Punching shit.
Or Yoda shows up, he's wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, and he goes, Yoda I am! And the whole galaxy goes away.
Fucking Disney.
Solve that equation. Well, everybody's been wondering how they're going to bring everything together at Disney. Tony Stark's the Force Ghost?
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
The Fanboy and the Hater,
where we discuss the best
and worst
in movies,
TV,
and pop culture.
We are available on all major podcast platforms,
including Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and many more.
Join us while we argue about the things that we love,
like Star Wars, superheroes, and science fiction,
and the things that we wish were better,
like Star Wars, superheroes, and science fiction.
So tune in to The Fanboy and the Hater.